Tonight's special guest is Evan Silva. Evan is a classic baby boomer, singer, songwriter and musician, and joined the 60s music revolution with a great band called The Action. He sowed his wild oats and then became a man of God with his own church and congregation called Harbour City. But the music is always with him, and tonight he reveals his new book and new CD. Be watching tonight for a chance to win a copy of both. We welcome Evan Silva as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. What a wonderful welcome to an old friend, Evan Silva.
Great to be here again, Gerard.
Good
Fantastic.
to see you, Evan.
Yeah, nice
Now,
to be here.
you have followed the same path as Gerard Smith. You've been a young lad, got involved in bands in the 60s.
Yeah, that's true.
And you've made albums and
Yeah.
you've done, well, so we are fellow travellers, Evan.
Kept it alive all the way.
Yeah. Now, of course, your main stomping ground was Auckland, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
right throughout the country, people will remember a group called The Action.
Yeah, very much. We toured after a little while, but before then I was in a band called The Mockers. It was early when I was 15, and we played all the Orewa Whangaparāoa dances. That was a great time. And then on to Nobody's Children. That's when I came into the city to the Galaxy and Top 20, and then I joined The Action, and then the action
lots of action.
really started, yeah.
Sex,
Absolutely.
drugs and rock and roll.
Totally, totally.
And long hair.
Yes, long hair of sorts, the afro kind of hair, you know.
And funny enough, you're here today because you're releasing a brand new book.
That's correct.
All about accompanying your brand new album, and it's Under the Afro.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, well, you've still got a little bit of that hair left.
A little bit.
How come you got to be so lucky to have some of it
I
left?
don't know, but I'm trying to hold on to it.
So when did Evan Silva enter the world?
I was born 1947.
47.
Yeah.
Oh, congrats. That's the best year ever to
A great,
be born.
great
because-
vintage. Same.
Yeah.
Great vintage.
What month were you?
December.
December.
16 December, yeah.
I was 6 months old when you came into the world.
Okay.
Yeah, so you missed the best part.
It was it was a wonderful era, a fantastic era.
Yeah.
Like the culture of the mid 50s.
Now, what about Mum and Dad? What was
Mum and Dad?
What was Mr. Silva, and how did he get a name like Silva?
Well, my dad was born in Nuku'alofa in Tonga.
Oh, okay.
And it's a bit of a story which we cannot completely define. Apparently his great-grandfather jumped ship. Now the great-grandfather's name was Pereira, and that's where I get the Portuguese blood and the rhythm and the music, of course. And so changed his name from Pereira to Silva.
Silva.
VA, yes. And so, I have had a couple of shots at tracing the heritage, but kind of get locked up because of the change, the change of names. But my family back in the day were connected with Queen Saloti, the Tongan Queen, and all that. My grandmother was good friends. My sisters used to go and visit her when she was here, but I was the youngest in the family, so I never kind of connected with them. And Mum, she was a good old Kiwi, bit of Australian blood in her, and lived in Mount Eden, opposite the Mount Eden prison. And it was an interesting time because my dad was very dark.
Yes.
And my mother was very fair. And so when they were going out together, oh yeah.
Oh, that was bad then.
Oh, that was a
wasn't
no-no.
it? Yeah.
If they were seen on the streets holding hands, Dad told me one or two stories. Yeah. And it was not too nice at all. And so, I guess things have freed up a little bit, but that was his early days. And then, of course, they had 6 children, and I was one of them.
And where were you in the list?
I was the last on the list.
The last.
They
on the
say
list.
I was a mistake. But I started the book with that. I started the book in here with Mum and Dad kissing in the backyard. I said I wasn't a mistake.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
And they were great parents with you.
Yeah.
They stayed together.
Yeah, beautiful.
And
beautiful.
as you said, they were madly in love. And
yeah, crazily in love. Even to the last days, my dad passed at 94, Mum at 92, which was amazing for my mother because she had 2 other sisters who had died very early. And I don't know, maybe it was Dad that sort of kept her going, him being alive. And he had very good genes from his blood, But Mum went at 92, and I used to go and visit them, and the way that they would look at each other at 94 and 92.
They still loved each other.
It was in the eyes. Yeah. It was just all there. Phenomenal.
Wow. That's great, isn't it?
Well, not everybody experiences that, but wow, when you do, it's magic.
So both Mum and Dad have now gone?
Gone, yeah.
And
gone.
Describe that loss. What sort of loss was it?
Well, that was losing. It was strange because I felt closer to my mother than I did to my father, right? And so naturally when Mum passed, that was difficult enough. I think it impacted the girls, my sisters, maybe more than it for me. But I did the funeral because that's part of my kind of role in life at the moment, and which kind of, I guess, helped the grieving process in some ways. So Mum died, and it hurt. I felt it. We all felt it. But when my dad died, he was 94, still in very, very good condition. He had a stroke down, affected him down the right side. Now, when I did my father's funeral, of course, involving all of the family, and we had a wonderful time seeing him off and all of that, and we felt quite confident about, this is it, it's his time, he's gone, to a better place, all of that. But afterward, I found that very, very emotional. I found that not difficult to cope with, but I felt like it stung me or struck me a lot deeper emotionally than what it did with my mum. And people say, oh well, dad, head of the house, the male in the family and all that, and it's probably all of that's true, but it did have an impact. I put things right with my mother because of my early teen years. I got into quite a bit of trouble. Thank God she doesn't know about 2/3 of it, and I held the book up until
that's what we want to talk about
later
today,
on.
2/3.
But I was when I did my I was with Mum's funeral and my dad's funeral. I felt that for me personally, I was in a good place with them. There was nothing unresolved, and I could just say, okay, this has happened, and move on.
Now, you later on became, after the music, you became a fully, right into it, fully qualified minister of a church. Is that right?
That's freaky.
And one of the belief systems is that you will see your mum and dad again in a place called heaven, with God.
Yes.
Do you still believe that today?
I do believe it, and what convinces me, if there was an argument, a scientific argument, or I may not have the facts to present scientifically, but when I looked at my mother, and I've done this so many times with people, when I looked at my mother, who was this beautiful, she loved to laugh, she was a dancer when she was young, ballet and all that, just this beautiful woman, and I look at my father, strapping ex-football player, very, very good sportsman, and
the life force you were talking about.
Yes, man, the spirit of the man, the spirit of the woman, the spirit and soul of that man, the spirit and soul of that woman. And all of a sudden, the candle goes out, and I'm going, how could something so, divinely created or whatever?
Yes. How could it go out and never be again? All that wonderful experience, all that laughter, all that love, all that family. Why should it just be gone?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Dad.
As a cosmic. Is it a little cosmic mistake or something like that?
Yeah. Goodbye, Mum. Goodbye, Dad. That's the end of it. And
now,
I think, whoa.
We're now talking about something that all our baby boomers must be thinking of now. As we get to the end, we're thinking, most of us, well, we would like to believe that we're going to see Mum and Dad again. We're going to see that child that died. And yet there's nothing really to... it's just an act of faith, isn't it, that's going to happen.
That's all it is.
There's so much evidence out there that tell you that you are just born, you pay your taxes and you die.
That's it.
That's it.
It's just a shallow life.
Yes.
But for me, it's like you touched on it there. It's a faith thing, and that's what it is. It's not necessarily found in a book. It's not found in a code. It's not found necessarily in a set of formulas. I am where I am today. People would argue it, question it, and my friend Mike Wilson used to say, ask me questions, want to debate, and I would say to Mike, there's a lot that I don't even know. There's so much I don't know, but all I know is something touched me, and I say it was God, and turned my life around. I can't argue with that. I must follow it. You know what I mean? And hey, that's how, and that's faith.
Yeah.
That's faith.
It'll remain unanswered. This discussion will go on forever. I wish we did have the answers, but we don't. But what we do have is a brand new CD.
Beautiful.
And a book to accompany the CD.
Yes.
That's all we have got.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
What made you decide to bring the album out, Change in Time, and the accompanying book? What's the thought process?
Two things. With the book, Under the Afro, When I was doing a review for the album, my 2005 album, which I recorded at Stebbings with 24 of Auckland's best players, I was blessed with that. I was doing an interview with a journalist, and the journalist leaned over her desk as she was asking me questions about the album and my life, etc., and said to me, "Evan, you should write a book." And I looked at her and I said, "Pardon?" She said, "You should write a book." And I said, "Write a book?" I said, "Good Lord." I said, "That would be a bit arrogant, wouldn't it?" And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Sitting and writing about myself, page after page about myself." I said, "That's just so arrogant." She looked at me sternly. She was full on, serious. "You have a story to tell."
Yes, exactly.
And that really rocked me. So anyway, we finished the interview and off I went. Went home and I said to Carol, my wife, "Carol, this is what happened, blah, 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 you know." Carol said, "Go for it, love."
Yeah.
Now the album, Chance and Time, I have a piano that I've had moved upstairs. No, I didn't do it. I hired some piano movers to move my upright piano upstairs, and I don't really play. I don't know how to play, but I've started writing on piano. And so I was writing these songs on piano, and I thought, I need to do something about this. So I spoke to Stephen Small, a piano player that I've worked with on and off, and another good friend of mine, Lance Sewer, a jazz guitar player, and I said, "Look, I've just got this idea." And both of them said, "Evan, we're in it, man. We're with you all the way." And so then I had to do something.
Wow.
So 8 songs, and we went into the studio, bang.
And look, just to give our viewers, why don't we play about 30 or 40 seconds or 60 seconds? We'll just let them have a quick listen. Yep. We'll let them make up their mind whether they'd like to enter a competition and win a copy. So let's have a listen to it first, and we'll take it from there.
Wonderful.
Part of me's pretending that this love you're sending is coming to me with your sweet, sweet desire. No, I don't mind waiting, I'm anticipating the magic moment between you and I. And given time, I know you'll find the thing you miss is the memory of one kiss.
Beautiful, beautiful, yeah, love it.
Excellent, that's good.
Now, of course, it's available in all good record stores throughout the country, or do you have to, how would you purchase this?
What we're going to do first up is we're doing a launch on the 3rd of November, a Sunday afternoon, up at level 2, 24 St Benedict Street in Newton. We're doing a launch up there.
Yep.
And
here's the poster.
And that'll be the first time the book and the album will be made available.
Okay.
From there, I'm hoping to get it into a couple of record stores. It'll be online with
your
my web,
your www.
Yeah, www.evan-silva.com.
Okay.
So any connections that people want to make, if they go there, hit the contact at the top and contact me, and we will organise the sale of the album direct. That'll be the first place. 3
of our lucky viewers,
yes,
Beat Goes Honors, can win the book and the album together.
Awesome.
Right,
yeah,
so we
wonderful.
need a simple little question, and I think the question is it's self-explanatory. It's called Under the Afro. Email gerard@thebeatgoeson.co.nz and put in the subject line Under the Afro, and we will do the draw next week.
Wonderful.
And, so when the book's ready and the album's ready, I'll let you know and you can send them.
Wonderful. I'll do that for sure.
So Evan, look, time has gone, well, says the man with no watch. Time has gone extremely quickly, and it's great. It's great to talk to fellow travellers from that wonderful age, the baby boomer generation. You're a perfect example of that, and what we're doing today, and how we see the future, etc.
Yeah, great future ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't have designed a better baby boomer. Evan Silva.
Thank you very much, Gerard.
See you soon.
Wonderful to meet you.